Hello, we're back, everybody. Great to be here.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Hey, Kelly.
Hello, hello. This week, everybody, as we're wrapping into early fall, I guess we would still kind of, has fall even hit yet? What is the date fall hits? I don't even know. I think
I
in a
don't think
couple
it's
more weeks.
officially hit yet.
Yeah, I don't think it's officially hit yet. So, I think a lot of families are just getting back into routines. People are like, okay, my summer's over, so my chaos of like eating out or eating, a little bit abnormal is gone, and I'm back on track. So, as you and I talk about, Heidi, so much that diet and lifestyle is like where it starts with health and wellness.
Yeah.
And many women, whether they still have kids at home or not, but let's just say they're a woman entering this near menopause or now they're in menopause and they've had counters full of supplements, but they hear, well, you know what, to really stay healthy, diet and lifestyle is key or king. So then it's like, do we need supplements? Do we not need supplements? So, like, let's first talk about the whole food thing and that diet and lifestyle really is what historically that's all the body needed.
Yeah. It's yeah, and some people will say, "Well, you've talked about this a little bit before and things like that," but we always have to bring it home. And probably several times in a year is like, "Okay, wait a minute. What's essential here? The essential is and our DNA turns on and off. And that was the great thing that we found out with the sequencing the microbiome, the genome and looking at that we actually have the power to turn on and off genes. And how do we do that? Through diet and lifestyle. So the proof's in the pudding, if you will, that that's all we should need. Now, there's caveats to that at this time, but like we always have to bring it back to the basics, diet and lifestyle, focus there, build on that, but always focus on the basics.
So let's first, Heidi, talk about food because we think of it as I'm eating a salad, I'm eating a grilled chicken breast, I'm eating my, I don't know, Brussels sprouts. We're not thinking like, am I getting the micronutrients? What's in it? Am I getting the micronutrients? What do those micronutrients do? Because what's happening in the body? It's kind of the same thing. Like, I gotta, okay, everybody's now consumed with their protein requirement, but we're not really eating protein because we have to have protein. We need the amino acids that it gives our body. We don't, so the same thing with food, okay? Eat your fruits and vegetables, the rainbow, but like, kind of give a little explanation of what comes in food and how do we actually utilize that and why. So then, what, when people say diet is everything, why? And when we mean diet, we're meaning the food you put in your mouth, you guys. We're not using it in terms of like a weight loss program, right? We're not talking about go diet. We're talking about the diet that we consume every day, the food we eat.
Yeah. It's a great question, and always something that comes up really often. But food is that process of chewing. All the food have different nutrients, and they share a lot of the same. So all the good foods, right? The veggies, the fruits, the veggies, and all that, they all share a lot of the same micronutrients in them. And but then some of them all have unique nutrients of themselves. And so this is why you hear all the time about wanting to get diversity in what you eat. The more colorful the food, the more the polyphenols, which are those micronutrients that help with oxidative stress in your body, reducing inflammation. And it's in those foods and the processing of those foods that our body can derive those nutrients and function really well. Turn on and off the right genes, turn on and off our immune system appropriately, and fight any viruses or bacteria that come in. It's all designed to give us nutrients to be able to do that. And different foods out there. So that's why we need a variety of foods because the same food all the time, we get the same nutrients and we're going to become deficient in other nutrients if we don't branch out.
So let's just say somebody we talk about, I don't know, again, broccoli, spinach, pick something. We're not eating it for the broccoli or the spinach. We're eating it for what's in it.
Right.
So that's, I think, this big aha that people need to understand of yes, it's good for you, but why is it good for you? It's because what is in it is what the body needs to be able to, convert processes to, again, activate our DNA. If you ate potato chips all day long, or just say the same food all the time, um, your body would say like, hey, what I can't do certain processes because I'm not getting the signals because you're missing these nutrients. Would that be correct?
That would be absolutely correct. And you brought up a good point. You touched on a good point there is that the more processed food you eat, that food is basically dead, which is why they have to be fortified with nutrients, right? If you ever see it on the shelves, fortified with C or fortified with iron, which means they basically stripped of everything and tried to put another synthetic iron back in there. Our body doesn't process it the same way. So it doesn't do as good a job as if you got that iron, say, out of the broccoli or a leafy green or a chard or a spinach, right? Our body loves to go find those nutrients and process them. So that's why you want the diversity. But the more, if you're looking at the fresh fruits and vegetables that you eat versus the processed food, if you're getting heavier on the processed food, you will become deficient in nutrients, and that's when disease states processes can start. And we all know, or I think we all know, right, that diseases have a run up to about 10 years before they actually get diagnosed. So that deficiency can take a long time. We won't notice it right away, but we're going to start noticing some signs that we're not getting the nutrients we need. Brain fog, fatigue all the time, afternoon slump, hormones going wonky, things like that. Nutrients are key.
So let's just say we are doing a pretty good job having some, fruits and vegetables, and we're trying to limit our, saturated, foods and all the stuff we shouldn't be eating. And we compare the food of today, here we are in 2025, versus comparing the exact same apple, orange, cucumber as 50 years ago. Okay. So for most of us, it's still in our lifetime, right? Like when we were born, what we were eating versus today. And we look at the nutrients that we need. Years ago, our grandparents and grandparents, there wasn't the health food store that they went and bought a bunch of supplements from. They just were eating their food. And even I remember as kids, maybe when I was like, I think, I don't know, 10 or something, they started coming out with like the Flintstones vitamins or something like that. But it wasn't like my parents never had counters full of supplements.
Yeah, no.
We still were eating food. But if we take those same exact foods, why today are people potentially still at more risk of disease if they're eating well that maybe 50 years ago we weren't?
Yeah, a couple of reasons is the food today because of yeah, just because our soils are so nutrient depleted than they were 50 years ago. They don't change where they farm them and then move it over to another field and farm that because of the work. It's all about production, production, production. And so we're growing our food in weaker soil. And so the nutrients aren't as plentiful in each of the food. Then the travel time, the air time. Every time once you pick a fruit or a vegetable, they start to oxidize, just like us. We got oxidative stress, so do they, and the nutrients will die off. So they're not as nutrient dense as it was 50 years ago because of the processing, because of how they're grown. Pesticides will definitely deplete them. GMO foods are definitely depleted, they're just void of nutrients. They look like an apple, they taste like an apple, but there's not the nutrients of an apple. Very,
And that
very
that is key, you guys,
right.
because the food can look beautiful. And it's like, oh, I'm eating this amazing apple and it tastes delicious. And it has no or very little nutrients in it.
Yeah.
And I
With
think that is this big aha because it looks like we're doing the right thing. It tastes like we're doing the right thing. So ultimately, Heidi, how would we know? I mean, obviously, in certain times of year, buying from farmers markets, buying from fresher, so right after it's picked, we're eating them. So we eliminate that transport time across the country or across the world or wherever.
Hmm.
And if certain fields are using regenerative farming or not using and spraying them with all of the pesticides and chemicals, that would be like ideal.
Hmm.
But for most of us, that's just not the case.
Yeah, for most, I mean, what I always tell people, as much as you possibly can, go organic. Go, like you say, I think the farmers markets, buy local. They haven't been, shipped off and traveled. Buy local, support your local farmers, go to their farms, see how they're raising it. Any of the good farms want you to. They want you to come out and see what they're doing. But go local, go organic, and get as much fresh as you possibly can. And you're going to be it's an investment in your health and longevity. It really is.
Yeah. I will say, 10 years ago or more, I was a whole naysayer on the whole organic thing, right? I've talked about this before. I really thought people were just like hijacking the price and just like, oh, please, come on. But that was my lack of knowledge and education. But once you know, and this is why Heidi and I want to empower you guys, right? Like we're having fun, but empowering you to take control of your health. Once you know, you're like, oh, of course I would choose organic now that I know. And let's go through some of the biochemistry of, again, taking that same vegetable that's organic and non-organic. And it's not just about you don't have pesticides and chemicals on it. That's one component. But I think the bigger component is when that vegetable goes through trying to survive from weather and bugs and whatever because it wasn't sprayed. That working hard is like us working hard. Like us, like, yes, the body needs hard work and it needs stressors. Those are stressors for the plant. And when that plant has stressors, it becomes much more nutrient dense. Is that right, Heidi?
That's absolutely true. And people don't talk about that. They've done experiments, but they build that big dome in California and they tried to grow trees and have a whole like controlled center, and the trees kept dying. And they couldn't figure out why. And it was because they didn't have wind and they didn't have rain and they didn't have all these stressors on the trees. So they just became weaker and weaker and they died. And so it was really like in your face apparent that when we don't have these hormesis, these minor stresses, we get weaker and weaker. And the same thing with those vegetables. They become more resilient, more robust, generate more nutrients, and we get the benefit of that.
Yes. And I would say in a lot of society today, we get so fixated on how things look, whether it's our house or our car or our clothes, but we do the same thing with our food. So we're like, oh, that apple's not as shiny and pretty. Oh, it kind of is a little brown, and I want the more perfect looking fruit. And we have to say, like, no, that's not how fruits and vegetables were designed. That's not how they grow. If they look that perfect, something is amiss.
Yeah, absolutely. They're meant to be a little bit wonky or naughty, and they have changes in them that there's nothing that absolutely perfect. There is the occasional perfect apple, but you're usually picking it off the tree.
That's so true. So true, right? Maybe you're like in Hawaii and you're picking, something that's just delicious right there for
Fresh,
you.
right? You can
So
smell
fresh.
it before you go even pick it, right? So good.
Yes, yes. So again, really going back to food is medicine. And so food is medicine, then what we're eating has the ingredients inside of it, all of those nutrients that we need. That is our medicine. Hence, we'll talk about it over and over and over that diet and lifestyle is where you start, is absolutely essential. And then with that, now here we are, like we said, 50 years later. Things aren't, even if we're doing our best, it is very difficult to get all of our nutrients from all of our food just because it's also depleted. Even those of us that are trying our best, it is difficult. So if we would just say, okay, I know no one wants a counter of supplements, but you guys think of it as kind of as your food, right? Like just think of it. You wouldn't like not brush your teeth. Like these are just things that you need. So is it one more pill? Yeah, maybe. Just, I don't know. Yes, we get on pill fatigue sometimes. Me too. But then I go, you know what? My body is happier for it.
Yeah. And if we just change the mindset or yeah, shift it to, like you said, this is food in a capsule. It's not pill. When we do pill, we're always thinking pharmaceutical, we're always thinking drug, and that's such a negative content. But when we have a supplement because we need it, like the ones we're going to name, this is food. So if we can change the way we think of the number of pills we take in terms of, nope, the number of nutrients I get, the food I get, this is just a guaranteed way of getting that nutrient. And so change it to food, not a pill.
Yes. And just like we, often pray over our food, thank you for the food we're about to eat. It's going to nourish my body. When you're taking all of your pills, like you don't want to be like, it's, oh my gosh, thank you. It's going to nourish me and give me the nutrients I need to feel fabulous and thrive.
Absolutely. Yeah. Don't be negative about it, be super positive, and don't do it as just a checklist. Treat it like something that is so good for you. There's a respect.
Yes, yes. Okay, so in that, let's talk about all right, we're all very different. So without doing blood work to see what you need, things like that, because we all might be needing something different, slightly different, there are, quote, essentials. Um,
Yeah.
so if we were just to say, for the most part, the majority of us, these would be things we would say you probably should be having on your counter and be taking every day.
Yeah. Yeah. These are kind of a must. And if the last 5 years proved anything about our resiliency in terms of immune system response, these were key components to it. So,
Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah.
so let's start us off, Heidi. What would you say?
I would say zinc is a big one. We don't need a whole lot of it, but we need a little bit of it daily, I would say. You can get that in all kinds of foods. We get it in, well, if you're into oysters, fresh oysters are going to give you a boatload of zinc. But I know a lot of people in this country that go for that and get fresh oysters. But we get zinc in like ginger, fish, fruits, veggies, lots in the fruits and things like that. But again, I would just get your 15 to 20 milligrams of zinc a day. Just get a pill and off you go.
And
Easy
off you go.
peasy.
And again, Heidi, if somebody were zinc deficient, just so people understand, these are your body will not do everything it's designed to do well without zinc or enough zinc, right?
Yeah.
And
Zinc
so,
is a big signaler to turn on our immune system, to help our immune system respond to uh, bacteria, viruses, parasites, whatever we're having to deal with. Zinc is a key motion, it puts the gears in motion, if you will, for that response. It's also key in our thyroid function. The thyroid function is really dependent on zinc and selenium is going to be our next one on top of the deck, because these two together and separately really help our DNA repair, turns on our immune system, helps us methylate. So there's so many components that these little switches have a profound effect.
oh my gosh. Okay, you guys. So doesn't it already you're like, okay. That's so easy. When people want easy, this is easy.
This is
So
easy.
let's go right into selenium being next, Heidi.
Yeah, selenium is really known for helping our body with oxidative stress. And it's key when you look at any research on selenium, it's key in DNA repair. And this is vital for our longevity. It's vital for resisting cancer. So it has a lot of research done on it with anti-cancer mechanisms. So selenium, you can Brazil nuts, nuts and seeds. Again, we get it also in quite a bit in meat and seafood. So animal protein.
Okay, I love it. And then this is maybe like my favorite, right? Which because I love the outdoors so much, but my favorite is good old vitamin D.
Good old vitamin D. Like We absorb it. It works more like a hormone than it does a vitamin. And so in terms of anti-cancer, anti-inflammatory, antiviral, antibacterial, there's nothing stronger out there than vitamin D. And so you really want to get your vitamin D levels up to be about 70. And I really recommend that people get those blood tests to check on your vitamin D levels at least twice a year.
And Heidi, a couple things. So you can go and check the time wherever you live and say, when is the right time for maximum vitamin D and sunlight for absorption so that you can go out and spend about 20 minutes out in the sun getting that. I was just sharing with my mom because my mom was wearing sunglasses all the time. So I asked her in the morning, do you ever not wear your sunglasses? She's like, no, why would I ever not wear my sunglasses? So we were talking about how that sunlight coming into her eyes is really key and allow that for 20 minutes. And so I think everybody kind of gets this, I'm afraid of the sun. So it's sunglasses, it's hats, it's covering your body with clothing. And I'm not opposed to that of not allowing your body to get overexposed and sun damaged and sunburn and things like that. But we do need as much skin exposure for that small period of time to get it from the sun.
Yeah, yeah, we cannot get, I think, anymore. Again, our environment, climate change, sun rays time, things like this, all the refractory rays, if you will, so bouncing off of buildings and things like that, it changes the way that it hits and the way we absorb. So it's hard to get the right amount of vitamin D through the sun. And I get this often in my clinic. Well, I'm out in the sun a lot. Are you naked? Because it takes your whole body to absorb it to get any kind of amount that would be really protective. And don't be afraid of the sun. Your 10 to 20 minutes in the sun it's not going to be the thing that gets you, right? Especially if you look at those dials and get optimal vitamin D. But sunshine, it's not just the D, it's what it has the effect on the whole body. So enjoy it for the 10, 20 minutes, get out in it with or without your sunglasses, but we do absorb a lot of the vitamin D through our eyes. So every time if we have sunglasses the whole time, we're missing out on an opportunity to really get a higher level.
I love that. And then let's just say one more, right? One more you and I were talking about before is omega. And
Yeah,
oh, yes, you got to have omega, you guys.
you got to have your omegas. And yeah, well, I get again, all I read that omega-3s aren't good for prostate cancer, things like this. So here's the thing, you want to get a clean source. A clean source of omega-3. You need your omega-3s, your sixes, your nines, your seven. You need the omegas because what do they turn into? Again, this is how we get these nutrients. We take them, we process them. What do they turn into? What do they look like to our body? They turn into prostaglandins. A prostaglandin is a fancy, funny word for helping manage our hormones, the signaling hormone response, right? So we want those in balance because we get better hormone balance when we have the omegas, the sixes, the nines, the sevens. So look those up. Look out where do I get my sixes in? Where do I get my nines? Where do I get my sevens? Where we get threes, but we want to be a little bit heavier on the threes because they're the most anti-inflammatory. Omega sixes, are easily to get because you get them in grains and uh, veggies and things like that, and nuts and seeds. And but they can, if they're in too abundance, they can be more pro-inflammatory. So this is why the balance of our omegas is important. And usually, if we just get more omega-3s, it keeps the rest balanced.
It keeps the rest balanced. Oh my gosh, you guys. So, I think knowing that, like, look at your food sources for sure, right? Because that's really where it starts. And then next, like, take an inventory of what you're currently taking. And maybe some of you have some that are like in combination. Some might be good, but the thing with all of them is the sourcing's clean. It's pure. You really know what you're getting, and there's no extra fillers. And if you ever want advice from Dr. Heidi and I, where we get our supplements, what we'd recommend, just feel free to reach out.
Yeah. Ping
Awesome, everybody.
us.
Yeah. One more thing, Heidi. What were you saying?
No, no, no. I said ping us.
Yes, ping us, you guys. Absolutely ping us. So enjoy your day. Go take a look at what you're taking and help your body to do the DNA repair it was designed to do.
Yeah, you got it within you. Turn it on.
Turn it on. All right, everybody. Until next time, we'll talk soon.
Be well.